but were making 30 to 50% AMI 20 years ago. And that extra $3,000 to $5,000 a year in insurance premiums is not affordable. And, you know, the irony of facing foreclosure and being house poor because you're in a habitat facilitated homeownership situation seems like something we should collectively be able to address. Thank you very much.
I mean, Ms. Stricker, I don't want to put the CEO team, and I certainly don't know the answer. When the ARPA rules were first passed, they were very tight about what could happen. Federal government has provided much more guidance. Why don't we let everybody look into the answer to that? Because I'm not sure that, I don't know the answer. My guess is that, the CEO's team may not know the answer right now, and then we can revert to you with what a practical response is.
I would be most grateful for that.
Trisha will connect with you and get your contact information after.
All right. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Thank you all. We appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have a series of amendments to classified play plan. Members, what I would propose to do is let Mr. Hagman go through the roughly 10 items that we have here. And instead of voting sequentially on them, I'll make an in globo motion on all of them that are not contested. And if anybody has an issue with one, we'll just pull that out. And then assuming the vote is unanimous, we'll put all voting matters on the consent agenda. Thank you all. Good morning, Mr. Hagman.
Good morning. The first item is an amendment to civil service rules. It's a bonus annual leave day. And this would be for public safety employees who complete a voluntary agility. This is basically with the intent to maintain positive health and fitness behaviors, which impact the performance of public safety employees. So it's a win-win both for the employee and the city of New Orleans.
All right, that sounds good. And what I'm going to do is, unless I see somebody press a request to speak, assume nobody has any questions on these motions. All right, Mr. Hagman.
The second thing is it's new job classifications for historic districts in Vucare. This would basically single out their type of inspectional work, which is a little bit different from the work performed by safety and permits. It would be the historic preservation building inspector series. It has comparable, but not the exact qualifications as safety and permits, and it's basically their tied job classifications. In the past, they used safety and permit building inspector classifications, but they feel in effect having dedicated classifications is a better mix for them.
All right.
The next item is a new job classification for the fire department. It's called fire supply and maintenance technician. It's equivalent to a fire apparatus operator. These would be civilian positions, and basically they're jack of all trades. They do perform maintenance work, warehousing work, they drive the vehicles, and any sort of logistical detail, if you want to say non-fire suppression work that's needed by fire. And it starts at it'll have a starting rate of $49,273 annually.
Okay.
The next is hiring rates for the Juvenile Justice Center for what I guess is the equivalency of their deputy director positions. It's basically one of the positions has been vacant for over a year, and it's believed in effect that this will be a tool to recruit and retain individuals in these classifications. It's the Juvenile Justice Center residential life superintendent, as well as the support services superintendent.
Thank you. Hiring rates for sewage and water board management positions.
I think that's what previously approved on.
Yeah, I think we did that already.
I think that's already.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna
If you want me to mention, these are basically in effect the supervisors and administrators at a sewage and water board. And it basically allows, in effect, a 13.75% increase to become competitive with other utility markets in the area. And of course, be an important tool for recruitment and retention of its vacancies that it has.
Okay. 18, item F, automotive retention special rate of pay.
This would be a $3,500 incentive in effect after automotive technician 1, 2, or 3, as well as the mechanic assistant and automotive mechanic journeyman. And this would allow, in effect, it's a tool for EMD and Storage and Water Board to provide an incentive to get people to maintain employees in these basically front line positions.
Sounds good. Real-time crime camera center.
This would be a incentivizing, in effect, employees at a real-time crime center to obtain a new certification that's just recently been established. It's a certified real-time crime center professional designation. It requires a written test as well as basically continuing education hours. And this would provide an additional 5% for those employees such as ground patrol and police technical specialists who are in real-time crime camera unit.
All right. Then the hiring rate for housing inspection field supervisor.
This is both a hiring rate and a title change to make it more appropriate. The code enforcement has been shifted now to a new department. And this basically would provide a 15% hiring rate for the code enforcement field supervisor position.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying too, because I had to re-review the motion to make sure that's in code enforcement, not OCD. All right. Next.
The next is hiring rates for the urban rehab series. And those are the people in the Office of Community Development that essentially, in effect, not only inspects property when, in effect, funding is given by the federal government to rehabilitate lower income housing. This will allow, in effect, the department, in effect, to recruit and retain people in this job series. And they have a number of vacancies. Once again, it's hard to get people with the specific skill sets that are needed to perform this type of work.
All right. Item J.
The next item is sort of a restoration of what used to be the cemetery attendant series. It's cemetery attendant 1 and 2. And this is to provide dedicated positions in effect that help maintain the city cemeteries.
Okay.
We've reached, the next one is in effect bilingual pay, and we're opening it up for the rest of the city. Right now, it's limited to the library, police department, and fire. And now we're hit the sort of the tipping point because other departments expressed the need, like safety and permits, as well as JJIC. These are people who are specifically trained and certified as translators, and they are expected to use that on a job frequently. And this would provide that 5% special rate of pay.
Okay. And then last but not least, 4K bilingual pay, special rate of pay.
Oh, that's the one we were expanding, what's presently limited to police, fire, in a library service bar.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Green.
I'll save my usual remarks for the council meeting when we bring this before them, but I just want to remind those who are watching that some of these jobs are easy to assume. For example, some of them, such as the cemetery attendance jobs, are paying $30,000 a year, $35,000 a year. And those who have experience with the criminal justice system are not necessarily barred from taking and accepting these sorts of jobs. So I just want to encourage the citizens to continue to recognize that the city is going out of its way to make those job opportunities available to our citizens. And we want to encourage everyone to apply. Cemetery attendance 1 and 2 is a pretty good job. And it doesn't require a lot of experience. Just want to encourage people to fill those jobs. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. We agree. All right. It looks like on the screen that I have moved in Globo for approval 4 through K, and Councilmember Green seconded. Mine isn't working, but what we'll do is if anybody doesn't agree, we'll just say 5 yeas, no nays. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hackman. All right, we'll move to the ordinances now. And the first up is item number 5, ordinance calendar number 34515, regarding New Orleans Tourism Cultural Fund. Yeah. Good, yeah. Good morning, Ms. Alexis.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The ordinance we have before you is to amend our 2023 budget. Usually there are expenditures or revenues, and we always like to make adjustments to account for any additional revenue, as well as speak to and inform of any adjustments on the expense side. With me is my Deputy Director and CFO, Tiffany Jackson, and she will provide an overview of the changes within the amendment.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I'll be really quick. We increase revenues mostly because we are expecting additional hotel occupancy taxes that would exceed the 5% rule for budget adjustments. On the cultural economy programming side, we decreased our total expenditures due to a decrease in fewer grant applications received, actually. And then on the general administrative expenditures, we also decreased because we're not expecting as many expenses to come through. We're dialed back on a few expenses this year, including the marketing expenditures. I forgot to mention that above. So overall, we have a decrease in expenditures and increase in revenues, but we're still planning to pull funds from our reserves. We anticipate we'll have a healthy reserves at the end of 2023. Are there any questions?
Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions? All right, Councilmember Moreno has moved. Seconded by Councilmember Green. Members, please vote your machines. 5 yeas, no nays. Thank you all very much for the explanation and being here this morning. We appreciate it. All right, item up next is item number 6. And this is regarding capital budget and sort of the usual deappropriation that happens if projects aren't moving. So good morning. Kyle.
Good morning, everyone. Like Councilmember Jeruso mentioned, this is the yearly rollover ordinance, basically rolling over every capital project that is still active. So what's listed on the ordinance is anything that is not being rolled over into the new year. The majority of items on this list are mostly because we're moving them out of the capital fund.
And they're being moved out of capital fund because of what reason?
Some of these are going to be moved into the FEMA fund because they're more operating expenses than capital.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it's mostly because, and then like they weren't capital projects. So we're just moving them to the proper fund.
Got it. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Councilmember Morrell, seconded by Councilmember Green. Members, please vote your machines. 4 yeas, no nays. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Cooper and Ms. DeLarge, I don't want to steal any of your thunder, but yeah, right. We are, in 2024. I guess really only one question for each of you is there any trending in the reporting, and I didn't see any, that was unexpected or that we should know about as we head into 2024? It looked like we were on budget. Looks like personnel is what we expected. Looked like FTEs are on track, but I don't want to retread old territory or what is essentially historical data right now, but I want to make sure there's nothing that we're missing based on your reports. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't think there's much that we're missing. We are starting to look at some of the end of the year data as numbers coming in, so we'll have some better accurate information how the year turned out for you all very soon.
Okay, and so we have to let December sort of close out.
Correct.
And then see where everything is
Yes.
from there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then, oh wait, can I ask one other question? So we keep on getting asked the question about the tax bills. Those go out at the end of the month. Is that correct? Is that somebody else? I think they go out at the end of the month.
So that's from Treasury.
Yes,
And so I do know that we had a meeting earlier this week. They will be coming out soon. They're waiting on, from my recollection,
the school board
with the
bill.
school board. Yep, so that's gonna be part of the delay.
Okay, all right. I just kind of want to make that announcement because people,
I think they spoke, and I don't want to misspeak, and I can have their office reach out to you if necessary. I think they're gonna make sure the communication is appropriate so people know when it's coming out.
yeah, I just want to make sure people know, and obviously, as I alluded to earlier with Mardi Gras, people get distracted. So we
Correct,
want to
yeah.
make sure we give people as much notice.
Yeah, I'll follow up with them to follow up with your office.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Anything from Matthew?
Mr. Cooper, any economic trends that we need to know about writ large?
Nothing really comes to mind at the moment. I just
Okay.
wanted to point out from a revenue standpoint, we're in that point of the year where our accrual process is gonna go back into November and December, and those will definitely increase beyond what they are right now.
Okay, great. We look forward to seeing that as the numbers catch up.
And yeah, that'll be March is when we'll know for sure.
Okay.
what Can close out.
Well, we'll wait to see those numbers. What I was actually thinking is the next meeting is scheduled February 29th. I was actually thinking maybe we should all discuss moving it to March. So that way we can get those accrual numbers and obviously if we need to move things around because they have to be passed instead of going to committee, I'm happy to bypass that if necessary. But I would rather us see all the numbers rather than, I don't want to say wasting time, but not making the best use of our time at the end of February.
Fair enough.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Sure.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Green moves to adjourn, seconded by Councilmember Morel. All in favor? 5 yeas. We stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.
That council vice president will not allow me to adjourn as I wanted to adjourn the last two meetings. He'll fix that.